Right, hello, I'm Debs. This is Debs Make This. Welcome. This is Sewupcycle 23. Welcome if you're coming here because of the challenge, and I hope you enjoy the content and that you stick around. I'm in my 50s, I'm a sick doctor, and I mostly talk about the things that I sew to keep me out of mischief. So this is a challenge that's been run by Becky at Notes from a Sewing Room and Karen at So Little Time for a few years now, and I took part last year, and if I remember I'll link the last year's video somewhere because I'm talking about some of the things that I made last year. So I thought I would pop on and do you a bit of a, this is what I've made before, these are the things that you could think about making, and then share my plans-ish and what I've been up to. So I hope that appeals. So there's some rules, and I shall insert the rules picture here, but essentially what they want you to do is to use something that isn't brand new fabric. So it can be things that are in your possession already, so garments that don't fit anymore, or things like tablecloths, bed linen, etc., etc., or things that the other people in your house have worn out that are not repairable or donatable. So kind of making use of the things that we already had. Now, no pet makes, garments, but also bags are included this year. So that's good because I have one. Well, it's kind of a bag, a wearable bag, kind of. You'll see what I mean when we get there. And then the idea is that you post your make on the 31st. That's me trying to remember how many days there are in October. The 31st of October, because there are 31 days in October. And you tag Karen and Becky when you do your post. If you're not on Instagram, I suggest you message them and see what they can sort out for you. If you have any queries about the rules, they're the people to talk to. And I'm sure they'll both do proper vlogs, which will be very informative and not like mine, which is a bit haphazard. I'm going to show you a couple of last year's ones, first of all, then some things that I've made recently, including one that probably nearly qualifies. Oh, which reminds me, important point. You must take a picture of what you make the thing from before you make it, so the original item, which I am not very good at doing, it turns out, but there you go. So number one is one that I'm wearing. I will put in a picture of this. This is the Hali jumpsuit, which is kind of like a dress and a jumpsuit all in one. I made this last year from a vintage bed sheet that came from my Auntie Maureen, and we reckon is definitely older than me. So it's very, very soft cotton. I made it in white to start with. I dyed it pale blue. I didn't like the pale blue and the trim, so it has a really long tie. So I kind of was slightly disheartened, so I had to do a bit of a pivot. And so then I ended up getting rid of the tie and changing the colour again. And I've ended up with something that I definitely wear. I did mean to make another one actually, and I've even got the fabric for it, but I haven't quite got around to it. So maybe that's an autumn make in the pipeline. I don't know, we'll see. But it does highlight that sometimes you kind of have to have fairly a flexible approach to it. So you kind of have to go into it being fairly kind to yourself and accepting that what you're starting with is something that isn't a garment and isn't wearable. And so sometimes it will work and sometimes it won't work, but the things that you learn will be applicable and so will increase your chances of something being successful the next time. So yeah, I think it's kind of just that approach, isn't it? So one of the other ones from last year was a shirt. Now, this was my husband's shirt and he wasn't wearing it. And I, at that point, well, I still haven't made the indigo by Tilly and the Buttons, but I used the bodice for the indigo to try and twirl. So I kind of made a mock-up of the bodice, extended it to a shirt to see if the bodice was going to fit me in its current format. What I'd forgotten was because this was so much bigger, the arm's eye was much lower, and so I've ended up having to put a very fancy little gusset in. I talk a lot more about this on last year's vlog, I think, but yes, so you can use things that are already in existence but are not yours, and that worked out quite well. Somebody's pre-worn them. The cotton is just so lovely. Everything feels so nice and soft, doesn't it? So this was another one that I wanted to show you. So this is a Weiland tank from LB Textiles, which is a really nice tank pattern. And I made this out of a Chris Wood Sews pattern. I did a vlog about it recently, so I shall link it up there. But it's essentially to say that even if you've got something that looks like it hasn't got very much fabric in it, you can often get things like undies or vest tops or whatever out of it. And now onto a couple that I've been making this year. So if you follow my blog, you'll recognise this. So this is a Gilbert shirt by Helen's Closet, and I have matching Arthur pants. I haven't worn these together actually, but obviously they were intended to be worn together. I haven't found the buttons actually. I must get on with that, but I haven't found the buttons for that. But so this is a duvet cover that I reckon is probably 1960s, I think. It's a very slightly odd fibre, but it's definitely got some polyester in it, and that's a thing to say. So if you're using a duvet cover, remember that it's not likely to be entirely cotton. So I don't know, some people, I know that's an issue for, other people are just kind of happy that they don't have so many creases. What I really love about duvet covers is the kind of bonkers prints that you can get, and I've got a couple to show you that are still in my stash, which are kind of inspiring me at the moment. But it's just that thing, so you can dive headlong in, and it doesn't really matter, does it? With somebody's duvet, and it would have, I don't think it would have been anybody's first choice. It didn't have a matching pillowcase or anything. There was some worn areas on it, but was able to make like a little matching set out of it. And I'm just going to draw your attention to my quite good pattern matching. But I've got a video about this, so I shall link that up there. I think it's probably a Friday Sews. And the Arthur pants, there will be a video about that coming, because I've got a plan for some more. I really, really like this pattern, even in my kind of bonkers floral one. But there you go. So this is my next one. This is the Silver Saga Ella dress pattern, which is a relatively new pattern. I bought this because I won a voucher at the Fold line, and I had to splurge. And it's got a very interesting construction. There is an underarm kind of gusset here, which extends onto the sleeve. It has an invisible zip up the back, and a waist seam, and these big sleeves. Now there will be elastic in these sleeves, but because of what I'm going to do next, I'm not going to put the elastic in. You can see that there are some marks on this. I think it has been washed, and they were on it when it came out, but our washing machine was just about to die, so I don't know whether our washing machine has done that or whether they were there before. Fabric is a cotton sateen sheeting, and so it was about 280 wide. It was like enormous, so it must have been like a king size bed sheet. It had got like a hem all the way along the side, which is how I knew it was, and that was kind of where I took my grain line from. So the other thing is, when you are making things with bed linen, you've kind of got to be careful that you know which way the grain is. And obviously it doesn't matter so much if you're making something like this, whether it's like the cross grain or the straight grain, but you just kind of got to know what those 90s are, so that you're not doing things on the bias by accident and things like drooping and stretching out. But obviously you can just tear it. So if you make a nip in the edge of the fabric and tear, it will tear straight true to the grain. So obviously don't do that in the middle of your fabric, do it at the edge. But it kind of just gives you an idea. This was, because the fabric was so wide, it was an absolute beast to cut out. It took me so long, because it's got these very big skirt panels. So it has 2 panels at the front and 2 panels at the back. And they're kind of tapered in at the waist and the bust line, and then they just kind of flow out. So the kids have been calling this my angel dress. And it does indeed look like that. I look like I'm kind of auditioning for an angel part. And I have a plan. So we have a new washing machine because the other one died, and I am not allowed to dye in this washing machine. So I'm thinking I might paint it. So I've started just having a bit of a sketch, and I've got some more sketches ready to go. Just thinking about what I'm going to do. So I've got fabric paint. You can use acrylic paint, I think, as well, but I'm not an expert in this. But I've got some fabric paint, and I'm gonna paint this. I'm just slightly nervous about it because I really like it, and so I don't want to destroy it. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. So I'll update you. So coming on to the rest of my plans. So again, more bed linen, and this is because, I don't know, it's normally good quality. It's normally soft because it's been around for ages. Quite often it's cotton or polycotton, and it has kind of interesting designs. I have this lovely stripy one, which if it was still summer would be definitely made into a pair of trousers, but I think it may just go in my stash until next year now. And then this one, which I've resisted doing so far, but has the most enormous, primary colour prints on it. Sorry, you can see the inside shining through a little bit, but we've got that red, the bright pink, the bright blue, the yellow on a white background. Now this is poly cotton and it's not as old as all the others, definitely not. Feels much more modern. But it's yeah, I think it's going to be a dress, and I just don't know whether I'm going to make it now or not. I am still doing my creative hinterland course, so what I might do is to make a hinterland in it, and then that's likely to be something that I can kind of keep wearing, so I might do that. The other things that I'm thinking about using are two garments. So one is a garment that I bought. So this is a vintage Liberty skirt. Now, I think they used to sell these. It has this kind of slightly perished elastic sheared kind of, no, I don't mean sheared, do I? You know what I mean? Like smocked, elastic smocked waistband. And I think you used to buy it and then in a panel, and then you were supposed to finish it, and whoever's sewn this hasn't finished the edges. They've just hand sewn the seam. The elastic is gone completely in this, but all I saw was a really nice, I think this is Betsy? I don't know, somebody will tell me, somebody Liberty expert will tell me, but I really like the colours in this. So what I thought I would do with this, I did think about keeping it as a skirt, but it's not really my vibe. I tend to wear my patterns on the top and my plains on the bottom. She said, having shown you a pair of the most floral Arthur's trousers in the world. So I'm thinking, the things that I'm thinking about using are two garments. So one is a garment that I bought. So this is a vintage Liberty skirt. Now, I think they used to sell these. It has this kind of slightly perished elastic sheared kind of, no, I don't mean sheared, do I? You know what I mean? Like smocked, elastic smocked waistband. And I think you used to buy it and then in a panel, and then you were supposed to finish it, and whoever's sewn this hasn't finished the edges. They've just hand sewn the seam. The elastic is gone completely in this, but all I saw was a really nice, I think this is Betsy? I don't know, somebody will tell me, somebody Liberty expert will tell me, but I really like the colours in this. So what I thought I would do with this, I did think about keeping it as a skirt, but it's not really my vibe. I tend to wear my patterns on the top and my plains on the bottom. She said, having shown you a pair of the most floral Arthur's trousers in the world. The other things that I'm thinking about using are, I'm thinking for this, the Jenna blouse from Vicky Sews. Now, Kate from the Fold Line mentioned this in her Sew the Trends, and I hadn't seen it before. I went over to Etsy to have a look at it, and there was a sale on Vicky Sews pattern, so I got it for £2.50 or £2.75 or something, I think. So I think this may well be that. I think this ended up costing, did it cost about £18? So it wasn't cheap, but it was probably cheaper than the equivalent amount of Liberty would cost me. Again, it's soft, it's lovely and soft, partly because it's Liberty lawn and partly because it's obviously been washed and worn. Yeah, so that's that plan. And the other one I've got is a Zadie jumpsuit, which was in my, got this out and I'm not sure about it. So I haven't conquered the fit on this, and I've kind of lost the will with it slightly. This is it's kind of an odd, it was listed as linen, but it's a strange fabric. I think there might be something extra in it, but I'm not sure quite what. But my plan with this is to see, they're quite, like I say, they're quite big on me. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to use them to make the Terra trousers, which is a pattern by Pattern Fantastique that I haven't made before. She's just re-released it in a larger size range and with quite a lot of adjustments. I hadn't bought it before, but I thought I might have a go. So yes, there they are, the Terra pants. So you can see I might just have to be a bit creative with some of this and reuse some of the Zadie details, but I thought I can kind of just get an idea. They've got this kind of tapered leg and kind of loose fit with that kind of tailoring detail that's very much everywhere at the moment. So we'll see, because that Zadie is probably not, because it's kind of been adjusted for my short-waistedness and it doesn't fit me very well. I'm not sure that I could give it to anybody else. So it's kind of been sitting around for ages and I just would like to get something done. Bags are allowed this year, which is quite exciting. So the one that I have in mind is the Davis crossbody vest by LB Textiles, which is why I said it was kind of a bit of a garment meets bag thing. So this is very cool. And the idea is that I'm going to wear this for dog walking, for keeping kind of treats and bags and all the things that you need the accoutrement on. that you need. I currently use like a crossbody, like a bum bag, fanny pack, whatever you call that thing, like a banana bag. That's its current name, isn't it? Banana bag thing, which I've adapted, which works really well. But I just thought this looked a lot more chic. And we're getting to a point when I'm hoping that not going to need his long lead anymore. So fingers crossed. So my plan is to make this out of a pair of trousers that my youngest child has taken the bottom out of completely, to a point that they're not repairable. Well, it would take more time and energy than I've got, but I'm thinking I might be able to do this. The pattern calls for quite a lot of fabric, so I might have to kind of be a little bit innovative with what I'm using, or use more than one fabrics, but I'm fairly sure there's another couple of pairs of jeans that are under the stairs waiting to for inspiration to strike. So yeah, I might do it with denim, or I'm sure I can find something else, tablecloth, something to go. So I hope I've given you some inspiration and some ideas. Get digging in the duvet drawer, see if you can upcycle things that are in your house. Don't be afraid to have a go, and then if it doesn't work out, paint it or dye it or add a trim, or, you know, it's kind of a bit about both kind of making use of the things that we've already had, but also kind of exploring that kind of creativity that we have. Sometimes I think we limit ourselves to what the pattern says and the new fabric and whatever. And actually, there's so much fun to be had just kind of getting the paintbrushes out on a white dress. So watch this space. So let me know, what are you planning to make? Are you getting involved with Sewupcycle 23? Have you been and looked at the vlogger tours? So there'll be some people tomorrow. I haven't looked, I'm really sorry. I'll put the name of the person it is tomorrow down here, but there's 30 people on the vlogger tour. So somewhere someone will have some inspiration that suits the thing that's sitting in your cupboard, I am sure. So to recap, try duvet covers, try garments that you own that don't fit you, try other people's clothes that don't fit them, don't take their clothes without asking, try painting things, try dyeing things, try, you know, whatever takes your fancy. This is officially you've been given the opportunity to go bonkers with fabric. So have fun and let me know how you get. So that's me for today. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are finding time to rest and replenish and do some making of something that brings you joy. And I shall be along with another video fairly soon. Bye bye for now. God bless.